Hello everyone, I'm Rafa. Welcome to my home studio. Today I want to show you these two practices that I did. This flower, it's an orchid, and this one, which is the same one. So this actually, it's an exercise, well, at least it's half of exercise, because I had read somewhere that we should do this practice where you get a whole tube of paint and paint a canvas with the whole tube. So we get 3-4 colors and you put the whole tube in your palette and then you just paint a canvas with all of it. When I read about it, I was like, okay, that's interesting, because it will make us lose this fear of putting paint on a canvas, and this is the whole purpose, like painting more loosely and stuff. So I had that in the back of my mind, but I didn't do it because I don't know, I think I didn't have the courage yet. It feels weird, and there's a lot of exercises that I know that I will do at some point, but I haven't yet. So this is one of them, and that's okay, because we can do a lot of things before we just jump to an exercise that we don't feel comfortable of doing. So what happened was that I wanted to paint a flower, and then I got the reference. It was like a purple, normal orchid, just a flower. And when I started painting, I just had other colors on my palette, and I was just like, okay, so what if I just use all this color in this flower? And then when I was doing it, I felt like I don't like painting flowers. And then I was just like, okay, I just wanted to get done with this flower. And because it's so small, I just did it so quickly, and it didn't look like what I kind of expected in my mind, for a flower. So I think that I really don't like painting flowers. So I just got kind of frustrated, and at the same time I was like, okay, so what if I use all this color that I have left on my palette and I just put it on the surface, just like the exercise. Then I remember the exercise. So this is what I did, and I was using a brush. It was actually like this one, kind of big for the size of this. But that was the thing, I wanted to apply paint on this small surface. So I was doing it. And then I had more of these little panels. So I was like, okay, so let me try doing another one, but this time applying even more paint. So I'm just gonna use this. And this is what happened here. I was doing the same reference, but applying with this. I didn't use any brush here, I just used that. And the colors that I had left for this one were those colors. So this is why they're kind of not matching really, just a little bit. They kind of match, but so yeah, I used all the color that I had left in this. And actually after I did this, it kind of opened my mind to other things, and I don't even know how to explain that yet, but it's wet. I'm just cleaning it before I get more messy. But it opened up my mind, my brain understood that I should apply paint in the canvas and more loosely. And after this exercise, I actually started doing better portraits, not so rigid with my brush work, my brush strokes, they're better now. And I'm actually using even more these big brushes. And I'm doing portraits only using this, I'm not even changing brushes. Only at the end that I usually use this for details, like the eyes and stuff. But even with this one, I find very good to use the corner, just use it in different ways and play around with it. So yeah, this exercise was really interesting because with oil paint we tend to be very fearful about losing control in the canvas. So when you apply paint, you're like, oh, well, what am I gonna do with this paint here now? Like, it's a lot of paint. But actually, if you look at your canvas as a sculpture, you know that if you apply paint, you're gonna be sculpting that paint the way you want in the surface. And that's actually the difference between oil paint and other types of paints like watercolors or acrylics. Because you start painting, yes, like you paint the surface, but then for like details and other things that you do like more to the end of the portrait, you actually have to to lay down a lot of paint, so the paint that is underneath doesn't come out, like it doesn't go, because if you let me try to explain this. Because if you so you paint a surface, and then if you're gonna apply more paint, you have to have a lot of paint in your brush. If you don't, the paint that is on the surface is gonna come to your brush, and it's just gonna make that a mess. It's not gonna, you won't be able to apply the paint that is on your brush in the canvas. So you have to have a lot of paint in order to finish a canvas. You know what I mean? With oils. So if you treat that as sculpting, like at the end, each layer of paint you apply, you have to like go thicker and thicker. You understand that you have to sculpt, like it's like a sculpture, like a 3D thing. And actually, like this exercise with applying paint, it really like it changed my mind, and I didn't even have to think about it. Just like after I did this too, my next painting was a portrait, and I can tell the difference between that portrait and the last portrait that I did before this exercise, and it's like crazy. I'm actually gonna do a video about it, like probably next video, because I could tell the difference. And this exercise that I did with these two little panels, it took me like half an hour to make both of them. And it was like, I didn't struggle at all, because it was just like literally applying paint into the canvas, kind of like bringing a shape of the flower that I was seeing. But even like without it, I think that even if I didn't have any reference in mind or looking at any reference, if I just crossed that path of, okay, I need to apply all this paint that I have in front of me into this little panel. If I just had that in mind, and I just, use that in like the fear that is the problem here. Like if you cross the path and you leave that fear behind, this is what you need, so whatever you did, it doesn't have to come out pretty. Like this is not pretty. Like I didn't like it, but the process, and this happens a lot in oils that I'm finding very interesting, because sometimes your canvas, they don't look good, but the process is what matters. Your canvas can look like crap at the end, but you learned something from it. And it's awesome how that happens every time in every canvas. Like each canvas you go, you're gonna get better at what you're doing. I don't know how it happens, and I don't know but it happens. Even if your canvas you just finish your canvas, it looked like crap. The next one you're gonna do, that you're gonna do better, even if it looks crap too. You know what I mean? So it's like you're challenging yourself, and you're gonna get somewhere because of this challenging, like constantly. You're constantly getting better because you're constantly putting yourself into these challenges, like this exercise. And I see that with oil painting, there's a lot of exercises that you can do. I've mentioned some of them before, like painting upside down, like you change your reference, you put it upside down, and then you paint upside down, or you use the hand that you don't usually use. This one, applying a lot of paint into a canvas. Yeah, these exercises are very important for our brain to pick up what oil painting is about, because it's not like a normal type of painting. I think it's more like sculpting. And I've seen other teachers and other people that are familiar with oil paints to say the same thing. And I agree with them like very much, because I feel that too. And since I started thinking about oil paint like that, like a 3D thing, my painting like changed drastically. Even like how fast I am now compared to how fast I was in the beginning. Because now I'm treating the canvas as I'm sculpting instead of like I'm painting a surface. So that's it for today. I hope you follow me on Instagram too. There is where I post daily stuff. You're gonna see videos of me doing my art on an everyday basis. And I hope these videos are helping you to go further with your art. Thank you for being here. Bye.